Hello everyone, welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. In this video, we'll be talking about the best Warlock exotics to use for Trials of Osiris. Like the Hunter video, we'll be going over these exotics through a tier list that I have made, which is on screen right now. I'll be going over these as quickly as possible. I won't go too in depth because that would just take way too much time, so here we go. The Transversive steps are pretty straightforward, just like the Stompies. It is just a movement based exotic, the only difference being that you can reload your weapons while sprinting, which in my opinion is incredibly useful, especially when you're playing Trials. Now the reason movement exotics are so good in my opinion is because it greatly increases your neutral game. The neutral game is a phase during gameplay when no player has situational advantage over the other. In Destiny 2, situational advantage could be characterized as having supers, grenades, melee abilities, etc. But movement speed is not characterized as a situational advantage. It's pretty much just anything that isn't ability based, so movement, weapon ready speed, handling, etc. All in all, the Transversive steps are definitely the best Warlock exotic. Next up, we have the Karnstein Armlets, which are underrated in my opinion, and even MTash made a video on these recently. The exotic perk reads, melee kills restore health for a short duration. Now, it not only helps you recover your health much quicker, but it also continuously recovers your health for a short duration. Meaning, even if you're getting damaged, your health will constantly keep going up no matter how much damage you take. Yes, of course you can still die, but it's a lot harder to. The reason these are so good is because you can pair it with Celestial Fire, which is Top Tree Dawnblade. If you guys don't know, Top Tree Dawnblade is one of the best supers in the game right now because you have Icarus Dash. But on top of Icarus Dash, you have Celestial Fire, which is pretty much the ranged melee ability. Being able to constantly regen your health while you're fighting people, especially in Trials, is great for surviving. And like I said in the previous video with Wormhusk Crown, the longer you are able to survive, the higher the chances of you coming out on top, either through killing them or reviving your teammates. The more time you have, the better. Next up, we have Ophidian Aspect. The exotic perk reads improved weapon ready speed, reload, and melee range. These are just pretty much Dragon Shadow but Warlock version. The only difference being that these exotics don't increase your weapon handling speed as significantly as the Dragon Shadow, but you are able to have this perk activated all throughout your gameplay. You do not need to dodge or activate your rift for that matter. You don't have to do anything, it just does it for you. On top of that, you are able to reload your weapons a lot quicker and you have an improved melee range. These will be given the same treatment as the Transversive steps. The Ophidian aspects greatly improve your neutral game, which is extremely important. Next up, we have the A tier, which there are only two in my opinion, and that's the Crown of Tempest and the Astrocyte Verse. Now, the Crown of Tempest perk reads, arc ability kills increase the recharge rate of your arc abilities. This pretty much means that you're locked into using Stormcaller for this exotic to work, which is why I don't rate this higher, because you are forced into using a subclass. The best way to use this exotic is to use Top Tree Stormcaller with Arc Web grenades. Arc Web allows you to chain lightning between your opponents. This is especially important in game modes like Trials, where people are very close to each other. If you throw a perfectly placed grenade, you can end rounds very quickly, just like this.
Oh my god, good grenade, he's gone. He's dead, he's dead. The other guy's one shot, other guy's one shot. Yes.
So by getting grenade kills, you are able to recharge your abilities much quicker, and that includes your super, your grenade, your rift, and your melee. All in all, this exotic isn't the best, but when in the right hands, it is extremely useful. In order to use this helmet to its fullest potential, you need to run max discipline to get your grenades much quicker. Next up, we have Astrocyte Verse, which is pretty much an improved version of Blink. If you are able to use Blink very well, this exotic is going to feel very good. This exotic is also very useful for Nova Warp Warlocks because you are able to close down the gap between you and your enemies much quicker. I can't tell you the amount of times that I've underestimated an Astrocyte Verse Warlock. You are able to close down gaps between your enemies so easily. Then again, the reason this isn't best of the best is because you are stuck using the Void subclasses. Next up, we have the B tier, which is a somewhat viable or situational tier. First off, we have the Felwinters Helm. Exotic perk reads Arc, Solar, or Void melee kills create a burst of energy that weakens nearby enemy. Now, in order for this one to work, you need a fully charged melee ability, and you need to kill an enemy on top of that, once you do that, you get a Night Stalker-esque smoke ability, which not only disorientates you, but it weakens you, which means these warlocks are able to do more damage to you. You're essentially getting debuffed. This isn't higher on the list because it's very situational. You need full melee energy, and in most melee battles, you use your full melee energy on the first hit, which usually does not kill. So by the time you go in for the second hit to kill, you can't proc the perk. On top of that, in order for this to really work, you need to have enemies clustered together, and by then, if the enemies are very close together, they'll probably kill you instantly. So why use this exotic when you have all the options above? Next up, we have Contraverse Hold, which has been nerfed greatly, thus putting this exotic lower in the tier list. The exotic perk reads improved charging for void grenades. You are also able to tank damage, and on top of that, you are also able to get a portion of your grenade energy back. The reason these were so strong is because handheld supernova was extremely powerful. By itself, handheld supernova was very good. So by using the Contraverse Hold to tank more damage and getting more grenade energy back, you were able to abuse handheld supernova even more. But because handheld supernova got nerfed, and on top of that the Contraverse got nerfed as well, these exotic gloves aren't as strong as they used to be, which is why now I put them in this situational category, because there are simply other exotics that can do a much better job for you. Next up, and surprisingly, is the Claws of Ahamkara, which pretty much just give you 2 melee abilities. The reason I put these here is because you might be able to use these with Celestial Fire, which is top tree Dawnblade. And as we all know, Celestial Fire is a very great melee ability. In order to use these to their full potential, you would need to run full or maxed strength, which could take away from very important stats like recovery or intellect, and even discipline, which is why I'm not rating these higher. Now, like in the previous video, I won't be covering the not worth the exotic slot tier list because I don't feel like they bring anything to the table, so there's no point in really going over them. If you disagree with my tier list, or you disagree with the exotics that I put down in the not worth the exotic slot tier, please let me know in the comment section below. I'm very interested in hearing your opinions on my tier list. I don't mind if you guys disagree, trust me. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so please let me know again. But anyway, that's gonna do it for the video today. Tomorrow we'll be going over the Titan exotics, which in my opinion, the Titans have a lot of exotics to use. Anyway, thank you guys so much for your time. Have a wonderful day.